Okay.
Well, hello, everybody.
Yep. Welcome to the Ortelius general meeting on the September 21st, first day of fall for us.
Well, actually, it's tomorrow at 3:30, so it's
Oh.
technically the very last day of summer, but it feels cold out.
All right. So let me just drop the link in the chat again for the doc. So please sign in and let me share my screen. So a couple things that we have going on. The service catalog. I've gotten the like a website. Basically, it's the service catalog version. All the work that we've been doing with the microservices and the changes to monolith. That has all been the DevOps process has all been streamlined. So when we make coding changes, they actually get pushed out to dev.ortelius.io. I am in the process of setting up a corresponding version of the documentation that's going to be dev specific to match up with the service catalog. So we'll have another domain. I believe it's going to be dev.docs.ortelius.io here in a couple days. So we have when you check in on the service catalog branch for the documentation, that'll get pushed over to the docs at that level to the new doc website. So we'll have the current documentation, and the new documentation will be up and going in parallel.
So Steve, why don't you just show them the process of going through it?
Go to
Ortelius, show and go ahead and review the how to sign into the testing.
Yeah. So on the Ortelius homepage, there is just a little sign up section. When you fill it out, you can put anything you want for company and project name. The one thing that we will need is a unique username. And what that will do is it will create you a domain inside of the website, inside of the dev.ortelius.io. It's a little slow. We haven't put a lot of horsepower behind it, so that's where it takes a little bit to on the caching side. So I've just logged in as an admin. So you'll have your domain that will be available, and we'll have a couple components. The hipster store will be out there as part of the sample data that we'll have out available after the sign up. We go and bootstrap the hipster store sample data underneath your domain. One of the things I need to add is a way for you to go ahead and add in the additional service catalog data, like the README, the Swagger, the licenses, and the CVEs. Right now, this is not part of the import process. So there's just a couple little API calls that we need to make to populate this for your testing data. So it's not anything that's huge monumental, but when you do see like the hipster store, these will be empty to start with. I did run into a couple things. If you do run into an issue, just go ahead and open the issue under the Ortelius/Ortelius webs GitHub repo, and just tag it under the service catalog. One of the things I ran into yesterday was if you go into like an application, the front end side's a little confusing because it doesn't hide one of the boxes. So like you see the Swagger and the README are still here. Well, they shouldn't be on an application. So there's a couple rows that are showing up, some things that are getting overlaid and things like that. So that's like one of the issues. I have to make sure it's opened, and we take care of that on the front end side. But that's basically, it's real simple. Just go ahead and sign up, and you'll get your, whatever you put in for your username and password. That's what you'll be able to log into just dev.ortelius.io on that front. And I think that's the main stuff. Was there anything else you wanted me to cover on that, Tracy?
No, but I'm a little confused. You said that you had still something to do to test the import of the Swagger.
So the hipster store, import data was created 2 years ago and doesn't know anything about Swagger or README or CVEs or licenses. So the data for the hipster store is like 2 years old. So in order to add in to the hipster store.
So let's forget about the hipster store for a minute. Let us if we're testing it, we should probably be creating new components to test it. Does this stuff not work? Should we not try to, because these are the areas that I had tickets open to test. So I'm kind of confused as to what we could do to test these areas, regardless of the hipster store.
Right. So right now, like last time we talked at the architecture meeting, we're going to add in a button to upload the README and the Swagger. Because that isn't done, the way the README and Swagger are added to a component is through the command line interface or a RESTful API call.
Okay, and is that documented anywhere so that we can do that?
I don't think it's been documented yet. That is on the list to get documented.
So would you like us to test it? What do we need to do?
Well, we could just test some of the existing components are already preloaded to make sure they're looking good. Like I said, this is messed up here. You can see that we have change requests that are scrolled off to the wrong page. There's a bunch of layout issues that we have. The dependency map is too small. And those are types of things that we just need to make sure that we have eyes on it to make sure everything looks good to start with, while I am in the process of documenting and getting test data for people to load in to their components.
Okay, so right now what you want us to do, what about these fields on the right-hand side? Are these fields the things that we need to test? So I'm trying to get an idea of what people can work on instead of what they can't.
Yes, like the edit button, you could go in, like, I mean, here's the issue right now. We went into edit mode and we lost all of the PagerDuty information.
Okay.
So because there's no scroll bar, it's little things like that 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 we need to start with.
Okay.
So
all right. So if you have some time, log in and just do some basic, not quite functional testing, but just usability testing for now. And please just go ahead if you find things and open up issues under, is there a particular project that you want us to open those tickets under?
It's the same project as always, the Ortelius/Ortelius repo. And just tag it as the service catalog.
Okay. So let's make sure if you're going to be testing, at least you can get logged in and there's no issues with that. That would be helpful.
Yeah. So, and that's where the documentation needs to be built out. Like, for example, we have no documentation explaining what a service owner is, or what the Slack channel means. So those things need to be added to the documentation. That can be started right now without.
Well, as soon as you get the documentation where we can update it.
Well, you can update it locally and run it locally, and so that's going to be in next day. I should have where we have both websites for the documentation live.
Okay.
Any other questions on the testing here? So just moving on to the GitOps side, the Australian working group, they have Argo up and running. They have a pretty good handle on Argo. Adam from Dynatrace, who's familiar with Captain, has joined the group, and it looks like we're kind of working around a proof of concept that's going to include Argo, Captain, and Ortelius. So there will be some interaction with Ortelius and the Git repos, and Argo will be looking at the Git repos, and Captain's going to be the orchestration tool. So Ortelius will need to start sending and receiving events from Captain, and probably Argo sends events at some points. So that's getting closer. So if you're interested in that, that's on Thursdays, and it's 8:30 Sydney time in the morning.
Every other Thursday, the same day as the architecture call.
Yeah. Then we have our podcasts. Thank you, Arvind. Arvind and I did our first Hacktoberfest podcast.
And there is the, I put the link in the chat.
Yeah, so if you want to go listen to it, it's just a quick.
And Sergio has a podcast he put out there as well. So there's two. And I have updated the website on the events page. It has the our new podcast channel. So all of those will be showing up on the page. So Steve, if you could just go to ortelius.io and go to that page.
Which page do you want me to go to?
Ortelius events. So we have the information about the blog about Hacktoberfest is out there. We do have a webinar coming up on October 1st, which Steve will go through how to contribute. And then if you scroll down, the podcasts are out there.
Yep. And these are on Buzzsprout, right?
Yes, and I just put that in the chat so you can look at it. The Buzzsprout website.
Perfect.
That this iframe is representing.
Yeah. Cool. And thank you, Arvind, for interviewing me and setting this up. It ended up being just over 10 minutes, 10 minutes and 17 seconds. So it ended up being the perfect length for a little intro into what Ortelius is doing around Hacktoberfest.
And if you look at the, if you go onto the Google Groups under the, I'm going to have to create a shared drive, I believe, because I do have an opening, an introduction opening for the podcast. So if you do one, I'm going to create a space so you can download the content.
Oh, okay. So we do have a shared area for Ortelius, and so there's a shared drive.
Yeah, Beaming Dash Podcasts.
Yeah, that's why I put the recording.
Yeah. So is that shared to everybody?
It should be underneath the So Siddharth created it and I was able to get into it. So it should be fully shared to the Google
Okay.
group.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yep. So you just need to drop in the intro
Okay, will do.
up there. That's probably the best place.
And if you could put that that link in the chat and everybody on the call, if you could make sure you could get to that drive.
Oh.
And I'm opening BM opening. I don't know why it's BM, but that's what I created yesterday.
Beam me up.
BM opening, yeah.
So now we have the outreach. So what do you have going on in the outreach side?
So we are focused on two things for the outreach side, which is the Hacktoberfest and getting ourselves set up for the governance elections. Next Monday, we will open up the nominations. So please consider nominating yourself, or certainly if there's somebody that you believe should be on our governing board, nominate them. You don't just have to nominate yourself, you can nominate other people, but if you do nominate somebody, you should reach out to them, maybe send them an email and ask them if they would be interested. So that's happening on the 27th. So we're all set up for doing that. The forms are all created. It's just a matter of me making them public. And then Hacktoberfest, we have got all of our collateral for Hacktoberfest ready. It's all been posted on social networking. So I think that we're pretty much done with doing whatever we need to do for Hacktoberfest. And we hadn't planned on doing any other activities just yet, but I will start thinking about the December 8th event. So I will get that part moving forward.
So on the Hacktoberfest, for some of you folks that have been around a while, we will need help, guiding people, reviewing pull requests, those types of things. If you're interested and you don't think you have the right permissions in GitHub, let me know. Or if you're trying to do something in GitHub, I think most everybody should be set up to be able to do like review PRs and approve them and things like that and comment on issues. But if you run into something, just shoot me a note and we'll get it sorted out. But we will need some additional help for people reviewing stuff to make sure it looks good. Last year, we did have a couple people come through that were trying to spam our project, creating some bogus PRs with like a one-word change in a document just so they can get their credit. So we just have to keep an eye out for that. I think that's the main stuff. Does anybody have any other comments, or if I'm missing anything here?
Nope, I just think that covers it.
We're a quiet group today.
Very quiet group today.
All right. So I think that's going to be it for today. It's good to see you, DT. Welcome back. We haven't seen you for a little bit. Hope things are going well.
Hi all. Yeah, it's been really long.
And Aditi has a presentation at DevOps World. Aditi, if you, I'm going to have to look on your calendar. Do you know when that's scheduled?
Yeah, actually it is on September 30, 9 a.m. EDT. Yeah.
At what time?
9 a.m. EDT.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did they send you a, like any kind of little image or something?
Yeah. They
Could
made
you
a kind of poster of my picture.
Yeah,
in the
would you could you send that to me and I'll put it out on Hootsuite?
Yeah. Should I email you?
That's fine.
Okay. I'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah, we're hoping a DT has like 1,000 people come to her session.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. I hope you all will be there.
So please, everybody join her session. It should be a good one. All righty. Well,
Okay.
thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.